Hi.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well, it hasn't been a minute since I did my last video because my last video was like a little bit more serious. But a video that's just, oh my gosh, I just knocked all of these over. What is going? A video that's just about a deck in Digimon. So the deck that we're going to be doing today is AncientGreymon. And we have chat with us here. I'm playing this in the tournament. Chat is saying hello to you YouTube folks. I'm currently 2-1 in the tournament. I don't know. I may end up 2-2. I may end up 3-1. So we're doing well, though. We beat a War Greymon, and we beat a purple Mastamon deck. And we lost to an Imperial Dramon, which I think is a bad matchup. But anyways, let's get into the deck profile, shall we? For the babies, we have 4 Digimons. Pretty standard, I think, for babies. Here gives you 5 or more cards, plus 1,000. Plus 1,000 is always good. Then we have a Koromon, so if you are at a level 6, you get plus 1,000. But GG is really the one that matters. But the babies are not so ridiculous. They can help you get a bigger dude on board at some point, but yeah. Outside of that, we have 4 of these Agumons. So this Agumon, if you're not familiar with it, it is the box topper promo from 1.0. It's kind of shiny, as you can see there. What it does, though, is if a Digimon has Greymon in its name, you get plus 2,000, which is really big, actually, because it can make your top end or even your mid-range kind of, like, weirdly tall. Like, for instance, like the Greymon that gives Sec plus 1. Normally only 4,000. But if you have an Agumon and, say, a Gigimon and they have 5 cards in the trash, now it's a 7K body. And you can kind of feel like, okay, well, I can swing over a blocker, actually, if I need to, and delete the blocker. So 4 of those Agumon, really nice inclusion. I haven't really seen that played in many decks, so I think this is the perfect deck for it. The next card we have is going to be 4 of the Gyumon, which is basically just Gigimon as level 3. Just another level 3 body. Pretty simple. The next set of 4 we have is actually Flamemon. So this Ancient Grey deck does lean heavily into the hybrid idea. And what Flamemon is, it's a hybrid. And what you do is you reveal the top 3 cards. You can add a hybrid card and or a card with as a tamer to your hand. So you can add both if you get both. So that's really good to help you sort of cycle through, find some stuff on play. You can also just use it as your level 3 that goes up into your Ancient Grey, and it's an extra security check. And then finally, we have 2 Biomon there, which, if it's on your turn and it gets deleted, you gain a memory. Pretty simple. This is a pretty straightforward level 3 line. You play around with it. You could try adding in some level 2, some like 2 cost drops instead, if you want, instead of maybe the Gyumons if you're not too concerned. But overall, I found this is pretty good. Definitely a little bit of room for your own personal style. The next card we have is probably the most important card to have if you actually want to build this deck and want it to be halfway decent. And that is not just Agunimon, but promo. Power Up Pack Promo Agunimon. That's a lot of P's. But what this card does, if you're not familiar, which you may not be because nobody talks about it, when attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into an Ancient Greymon in your hand for 2 memory, ignoring its Digivolution requirement. So you could swing, jump past the level 5, go immediately into the Ancient Grey, but at the end of your turn, it gets deleted. So it's good if you want to put some quick pressure on and, you have another hybrid in hand that Ancient Grey, when it gets deleted, can bring out because that's its on deletion. So that's nice because if you have the right stack, you can get security plus 2 out of nowhere for 2 memory when you evolve into it. So now you're a 13K Sec plus 1 or Sec plus 2 body. Its inheritable is also important because it reduces the cost of evolving into Ancient Grey by 2. Ancient Grey is a 5 cost Evo, so it's really bad. It feels bad to Evo into it without this. So 4 of these is a must. And then we do have 1 of the other regular Agunimon from BT4. This one you can evolve over a Tamer. If you wanted what I would maybe change in the deck, I might find space for 2 more of the regular Agunimons and take out 2 of the other level 4s that I'm going to show you. It's all up to your preference on which ones those are. But yeah, I think having more options to Evo over Tamers is really strong because it's like a whole other body on the board that they weren't expecting. So outside of that, and by the way, these are all hybrids, so they help with the Ancient Grey strategy. We have 3 Cordramon, which is your blocker for the deck. Good to have a blocker. And then 2 of the security plus 1 Greymon. This one is nice. You could consider taking this out for those Agunimons. Up to you. But I like this in an Ancient Grey deck because it doesn't give just security plus 1 to Ancient Grey. It's actually a security +2 Digivolution card because you get Sec +1 as it's inheritable. So that card alone can make that Ancient Grey go from like, oh, I'm getting 3 checks to getting like 5 checks or whatever. So pretty powerful card. This is the one that you might consider swapping for the Agunimons, and that's Geo Grey. Again, it is another Greymon, but Agumon's in a hybrid, so it's all kind of evens out with regard to Ancient Grey security stacks. But this one has Digiburst 2. You can delete one of your opponent's 4K DP Digimon or lower. It's nice if you want to control a bit of the pace of the game if the opponent is going really rush. But at only 2 of these in the deck, seeing them when you need is probably inconsistent overall. So that's why I'm like, this is probably what you might consider for those extra Agunimons. That's all the level 4s, though. Next, we're going to go into level 5s, and there's 2 of them here. We're going to have 4 Aldemons. Aldemon is amazing in this deck. If you have a hybrid underneath it, when it swings, it starts at 11k DP, security +1. Depending on the stack, it can also be security +2 if you have, say, Flamemon, Greymon, Aldemon. That'll be security +2, 11k. And depending on the babies, it can go up to 12 or even higher, depending on the other cards in the deck that you'll see in a second. But 4 Aldemon, really gross, can swing over a lot of things. Yeah, survive. It's really good. The next level 5 we have is also really nice in this deck, and that is Rise Greymon. I'll move that actually down here. Rise Greymon, just a really good one. This is the red Rise, but it's treated as yellow on your turn as well. This one has the Digiburst 2. You can play a Tamer. Again, Tamers in this deck, really important. Starting at 3 memory in general is very important for this deck. Because as you can see, we don't have any 1-cost Evos. Everything's 2 or 3, and 3 is that perfect number. So getting a Marcus out is important. And the inheritable of -2k, yeah, you can like do some shenanigans. So that's the next level 5. That gets us to the level 6s, and we have 4 Ancient Greymons. So this is kind of what the deck revolves around in many ways. Your turn for each Digimon underneath this card, and as a Digivolution source, with Greymon in its name. It has some exceptions to the Greymon rule, but we're not playing any of those exceptions. Or with Hybrid in its form, you get security +1. So the perfect stack, the most extreme stack is Flamemon, Greymon security +1, Aldemon, Ancient Grey. And that would give you security security +1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 5-check stack with this dude. And it's 13k, so it will survive most things. If you have the GG, it goes up to 14k. If you have the Agumon, you can get it up to 15, 16k, which will even swing over Omnimons in security. So really powerful if you can get it out. And again, 5 cost to Evo, so the promo Agunimon is necessary. The other effect, which I actually haven't done in this game, in these games yet. Oh shoot, is it last round? Let's see. Let me just make sure. No, it's still round 3. I got notifications. The other thing is, on deletion, you may play a red level 4 or lower Digimon card with hybrid in its form from your hand. That hasn't activated for me yet, but it's very good because you can replenish your board. So that's Ancient Grey. The other level 6 that we have in the deck is War Greymon. This is spicy, but it's the reason we play Rise as well. If you don't know War Grey, welcome to Digimon TCG. But you can swing, grab the top card of your security stack, put it in your hand, give something -6k, and restand. So another really good card if you want to get some extra swings. If you have the Greymon underneath it, you actually can get 4 checks off of this in 1 turn, assuming it survives. 11k is a bit iffy sometimes. But 2 of these yellow War Greymons, really nice in the deck. And then that's all the Digimon. After that, we have a bunch of different like Tamers and options. So we're running 4 of this Marcus here. 4 Marcus in the deck because Tamers are important. If you played more Agunimon, you could play 4 very comfortably. But this also has the effect, it starts you off at 3. But if you swing with something that has Greymon in the name, you can suspend it to gain a memory. That has enabled some really cool plays. So I run that as a 4 count. You could play around with 3 and find space for other stuff. Up to you. We run 3 Gaia Force. I don't have space for more. I don't think you need more. 3 is fine. Just straight up delete a body. 3, yeah, you don't get too bricky with 3. Outside of that, we got 2 Scrap Claw. So Scrap Claw is a 3 cost, but it allows you to give a Digimon piercing. This is particularly important in this deck because your deck relies on security plus mechanics. So if they're putting down a blocker and they're like, I'm going to stop that, just give that body piercing and then like, no, I'm getting these checks. You may not lose this turn, but I'm getting these checks. So also just good if you want to swing over something that swung and you now have a 13 or 11k body. So we got 2 Scrap Claws. That could go down to a 1 count. And then the last card here is Atomic Inferno. This is really nice. Its main effect when you play it for one memory is one of your Digimon with hybrid in its form. That's important. Gets plus 3000 DP, security attack plus 1, and if it gets blocked, you gain 3 memory for the turn. So this is gross. Yeah. And its security effect is pretty gross too. If it gets checked in security, all of your Digimon on the field get security attack plus 1. Now, this only works if they're already on the field, but that's game-changing. This is one where you may just decide to take a Scrap Claw and make it an Atomic Inferno. Up to you. But this is the deck that I ran for the tournament. Like I said, currently 2-1. Apparently, chat is saying if the video gets 2,000 views, you'll force me to run Atomic Inferno at 4 count. I don't know. It's a good card. I wouldn't be too upset. But yeah, that's the deck. I really like this deck. It's weird. It's different. It's not something anybody's playing really in the format. It can take games really quickly. It can be bricky. Red is bricky. It could just, if you got a handful of level 5s and nothing in between, that's not great. And it doesn't have a ton of hard removal outside of War Gray, Geo Gray. So just play safe. Play safe out there. But thank you guys for watching, and let me know what you think. Cheers.